Now, just so you understand, there are 3 different versions of this add-on, and I'll show you. So number one, if we come over here to the Blender Market page, you'll see there's a trial version. You'll see that there is a V4, which has all of the features that I'll show you. And then you have the studio version, which is an isolated version that contains all the functionality of V4. So now if we come back over, this will be the version you get with V4, which is the $14 one. And then the find highest algorithm that's built in with the galleries and stuff for the preset models. This is the studio version. So you will not have this in the studio version, okay? I'm sorry, you will not have this in the V4 version. So that won't be there, no auto scan. But in the studio version, you'll have the auto scan and this. And in the free version, you're basically just going to get a very small area that allows you to experience the fact that you can have proxies put on objects. And it does work. Limited, of course, but it works. So now what we're going to do, because all of this is quite self-explanatory, we'll cover it, but we're not going to cover it right now. So right now we're going to go over the auto scan, which is the newest feature. And this is going to work with anything in your scene. You don't even have to have anything selected. Doesn't matter if you have cameras selected or backgrounds or anything else. Lattice, doesn't matter. It's only going to work with mesh objects. So what you can do is you can look at your face threshold. This is the whole add-on. There's 2 things that will further your knowledge here. What is selected, and then the face count of those objects, okay? What you would find is, hey, this is my lowest poly count right here. I've got 500 faces. So if I set this to 500, the auto scanner is automatically going to pick up anything 500 or greater. And it's just going to load here. Now the find highest is different. It's a different thing. It's a different algorithm. It's based on the highest tier and a collection of those highest tier meshes. So we've got some that are 7,872, but doesn't worry. We're just talking about equal to or greater than type of logic. And of course, if I put this to 501, then of course it's only going to pick up the 7872. And each one of these will have like a little button. It'll have a delete button, and it'll have an indication if the node group is there. It's the same little geometry node group symbol here is there. Okay, so that's kind of how it's working. Now, when I scan, even so with nothing selected, it's going to select everything in the viewport. It's going to say, hey, this 7872 is my highest, and I've got 3 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and put the OCP on these automatically. Now, if you don't want that, you can just turn this off. Let's go ahead and delete. Let's rescan. And then right here, each one of these will be loaded. And this list is going to be dependent on criteria met. So you may not always see a bunch of objects in here. If they've already got the OCP, they can definitely disappear. So now you can do that. If you were to scan highest again, you got nothing in here. There's nothing loading because nothing meets that criteria. These are now reading 6 faces, right? So they're below this threshold. So just keep that in mind. And I think this is going to be really simple once you grasp what's actually going on. So we'll do this again. Find highest face count. Boom, this loads. I don't have this ticked on. If the highest is met, add the proxy. Okay. So now I've got a list. I've got 3 listed here. I've got 3 listed here. Very simplistic. Now we'll go ahead and we'll tick this on and click highest, find highest face count, and we get our proxies. We go ahead and switch over to material preview. We'll see, hey, yeah, we have our materials transferring. Looks good. If by chance you have a problem and you're clicking this button and nothing's happening, even though you've got stuff loaded, just go ahead and click one of these and it'll force Blender to kind of refresh in the background. So that's kind of just how it goes sometimes. So then you can kind of delete that and re-click this and then it'll go. So if you ever run into that and it's just not working, either check your threshold or nothing meets that criteria. So now that I click that, it'll say no objects meet criteria. Now you just know that's not going to do anything. Now I'll pick one of these as an active object, and this is the next spot. Your custom proxies will cover this part, and then I'll save this for the last part because it's a lot to learn at one time. So you've got a few different categories. You've got humans. So you can just click this little arrow, or you can drop this down. You can get a low poly man or a low poly woman. Then you can go back to categories, go for trees, plants. It's going to auto load here. You just select anything you want, and then you can kind of scrub through, especially once you start getting used to what you have. And there are textures, right? So obviously you may want to switch back to solid view. I was going to do it automatic, but I didn't want that to be a hassle for people. So now you can kind of scrub through these. This is appending that object into your scene, but they're all low poly, and they really should not interfere. And I may find a different way of like adding these all to a collection as it goes in, and then, you know, before you finish your scene, you can just hit delete, and it'll delete any named objects that are in that list. But that'll be an upgrade for the next time. So you've got some trees with vines, some trees without vines, whatever best represents what you have. Then we've got rocks. And you got a few different rocks in here that I made. You've got obviously the primitives, which are going to be extremely useful, I think, for certain shapes. So you're just trying to, with a proxy, you're just trying to mimic the original and speed up the viewport. And then my favorite, you got the cat. And I will put some more animals in there. And I would be remiss if I took this cat, because I actually bought some of these assets, and they're all royalty free. I made half of them, and I bought the other half. They're royalty free, so I can use them anywhere I want. But I'm going to show you guys the Gumroad where I got this from. This is the guy's account. It's Perfection NH. It's like kind of free on everything, but I did go ahead and pay him to pull in a few of these assets. But I want to give some shout out to Perfection. So if you want to go in there and get this on Gumroad, go ahead, go find him. Make sure to give 5-star reviews. Never pick up somebody's product and don't give a 5-star review. It's just not right, because that's what we all live and die on, is the 5-star reviews. And if by chance you didn't like something of mine or somebody else's, don't give it a 1, 2, 3, or a 4-star. Try to address it with that creator, you know, and then if they ignore you, they don't get back to you, and it's been weeks or something weird like that, then you give them a low rating. But if someone can help you, give them the opportunity to do so. So now back over here, you'll have some organic stuff. This would be miscellaneous category, and like I said, you can just scrub through. So this is the whole add-on here. So we'll just go over this one more time. Let's delete everything. That's kind of a scrub up button. You know, you can just delete all your proxies. You can individually delete them here or add them, don't forget. And you'll know the face count of that object, the name of it, whether it has a node group or not. It's very, very simplistic, even though it's very complex algorithm behind the scenes doing this. So anytime you want to find highest face count, just click this button. Your scene's going to be different than mine. So if your lowest face count is 500, or say your lowest face count is 10,000, then you would put in 10,001. Okay. And then nothing is going to meet that criteria in my scene, because my highest was 7,000. So for example, if I put in 7,000, I'm only going to get those objects, nothing else. Even though everything else is selected, the auto scanner is not going to pick it up. If you do go to 0, it'll just pick up everything. And one last thing, before, we had not covered the display grid. Using even numbers, you can make the add-on smaller and then stretch it out. Okay, so you'll have a setup here. I have no idea who in the world would want their stuff to be that far out, but you could potentially, depending on the amount. It could look good that way. I don't think so, but we'll just put this to an even number. So I keep mine at 4 or 2. It's just very simple, because I'm not trying to have 1,000 objects OCP'd at one time. If you are, then that's what this section will cover right here. So this section will cover that for the OCP part, and we'll cover that in the next tutorial. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions, make sure to hit me up on Blender Market. You can message me. You'll see this on YouTube. You can pick it up there. There'll be links, of course, in all of these videos for you guys to grab the add-on. This would be an upgrade if you guys already have picked it up. This is actually an upgrade because it's a studio version. There's an asset pack and a lot of different things in it, so it's been heavily upgraded. I've upgraded all the descriptions to make it super, super easy to understand. There's some quick videos that you will find. Documentation, if you go over here, you'll see the latest update. Hey, what's the latest update? What does it contain? OCP v5 right here. And you'll see some different things showing. This isn't not accurate, this little photo here, but it still gives you an idea of the gallery because I made it a lot better now. And then you'll have some more in-depth description of what is going on inside the Python. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in part 3.